Hey folks, hope you're well. Zito here. So if you recall, back in June, I actually picked up this thing along with a whole bunch of lathe tools and accessories. Things like 4-jaw chucks, drill chucks, and of course all the different chisels and things like that. I ended up spending 1,161 Canadian dollars at the time. And today I actually want to talk to you about how I've more or less made a lot of that money back and discuss how you can make some money wood turning and stuff. Just as a quick note, this particular video is inspired by the likes of folks like Graham Stephan. When it comes to things like money management and just like fiscal education and literacy, I find his channel just absolutely incredible, where he breaks down things like how much money he makes on YouTube and how he spends his money month to month. I just figured I really like that kind of stuff, and I'd kind of dive into that a little bit. Of course, on YouTube, there are a couple of videos on how you can make money wood turning, but they seem to be a bit older.
At one time or another, most of us have thought about trying to make a little money from our hobby of wood turning.
And maybe outdated by now, and I just wanted to give you my perspective on how I made my money back in the last 4 months of owning this thing. So of course the first category is products. Making things is of course the most obvious way to make your money back, right? So to date I've made a couple things. First of all, I think I've sold about 10 pens. The pens cost about $4 each from penblanks.ca or William Woodwright, with which I sell them for about $35 each. So about a $31 profit per pen there. I've made about 4 bottle openers, with which I sell those for about 50 bucks. I think they cost me about $6 a pop as well. And then I've sold 2 tampers, which are tampers for coffee espresso. No one really knows what they are whenever I make them. Oftentimes people think they're butt plugs or something like that. Anyhow, I sell those things for about $100, and they generally cost about $30 for the metal hardware itself. Lastly, of course, I also had a big commission this past little while. It was with the folks over at Vans in Korea. Vans Korea, they commissioned me to make a bench with which, you know, the top is like a checkerboard in the style of Vans, and the legs were actually a recycled skateboards and epoxy mix with which I turn on this particular lathe here. The cost on that particular project was $500, and I ended up charging $1,350. You know, that particular product, I would say about half of that particular product is attributed to the legs. So I would say that I actually made a profit of about $425 directly with the lathe there. You tally all those products together, and you of course take off the costs of all those particular products. I'm actually looking at a profit of about $1,091, which gets pretty damn close to actually covering the cost of the lathe itself, right? It's of course only one of the categories, and I want to delve into some of the others. The next category, of course, is what you're watching right now, which is YouTube. So for YouTube, I've made about 2 videos with the lathe specifically. One being the review of this particular lathe behind me here, the CX813, with which I have about 1,250 views. To date, I've earned a whole $5 with that particular video. And then also my 2020 recycled skateboards baseball bat, which was part skateboards, part epoxy, and part skateboards again. I kind of do a home run challenge every year, and I've used this particular lathe with the extension bed to turn that particular baseball bat. And that particular video, with the over 3,100 views, ended up making me another, wait for it, $5. So when you combine the 2 YouTube videos together, I think I've made a meager $10. That said, when you put together the time I put into planning the actual videos, the actual shooting of the videos, making of all the products, having folks come out and play baseball with me, and then of course editing the videos as a whole, I'm sure I'm well in the hole when it comes to actually putting those economics together. However, I had a ton of fun making those videos, and I have a ton of fun making most of my videos, and I don't know, these are kind of builds and videos that I thought would be helpful to the community, folks who are thinking about buying this particular lathe, and then just a fun video for me to make making a baseball bat out there. So it's stuff that I'm really proud of, and I hope folks will take a look at. But yeah, when it comes to YouTube, just for reference, I made $10 on my lathe videos. But that's not to say, with my following of about 20,400 subscribers, I actually make closer to about $600 a month in YouTube revenue, and that's based on some of my older videos that I have out there. So that's not to say that you can't not make money either via YouTube. Lastly, for me in this 4-month period, a big thing is sponsorships actually. You'll notice that I do use a lot of epoxy in my products and things like that. I'm fortunate enough to have backing from the incredible folks over at TotalBoat, which have given me basically all my thick set epoxy and all my epoxy that I need for all my projects. And that's literally saving hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in my epoxy and adhesive requirements pretty much. So big shout out to the folks over at TotalBoat. They've really helped me out. And another big one is the folks over at penblanks.ca or William Woodwright. If you're in Canada and you're trying to make any sort of a pen or product or anything like that, they really have really great prices on all types of pens, things like lighter blanks, pizza tools, and if you're from the north or the Arctic, they even have things like ulus and stuff. So they have a ton of product that's all sold at really great prices, frankly. So it's a really great resource. I know there's folks like Craft Supplies USA. That's also great if you're in the States. So yeah, tons of options out there. But the fine folks at William Woodwright ended up giving me about $750 worth of products from their website, with which I ended up getting like 3 barbecue sets, which will eventually count for about $450 worth of profits. I got 100 pens of their budget slimline pen, which I currently charge about $35 each. So that'll come out to about a $3,500 profit over time. I got 10 bottle openers. I sell those for about 50 bucks each. So there's $500 right there. And then 5 pepper mills, and yeah, I'll probably sell those for about 80 bucks each or something like that. I also ended up getting things like Starbond CA glue, which has been absolutely incredible for especially my skateboard projects where I'm filling gaps. I got these pen turning chisels, which have been a game changer for me when actually turning pens. They're absolutely incredible. And then I ended up getting a 3-step buffing system, which has been great when I polish out anything that I've made with epoxy and stuff. So I can't thank the folks over at penblanks.ca enough for all that help. And over time, it's not going to be overnight or anything like that, but over time, all those particular products will end up eventually being close to a $4,850 amount of profit if I were to make all those products out and sell them all. So that's been my experience over the past 4 months and how I've made some money with this particular lathe behind me here. That's not to say that if you buy a lathe that's going to become successful overnight or you're going to make money tomorrow with it or anything like that. Just for reference, I've been woodworking for about 5 years, with which about 4 of those years I've been turning things on a lathe. So this is my first lathe that I've personally bought, but I have been turning for a while, and while I don't necessarily call myself an expert by any means, I don't think the products that I turn out are half bad. I've also been shooting photos and videos for a long time. I've been fairly steadfast about documenting most of the things I've built. So I want to say that that's attributed to some of the following that I've gained over the years. That's over 30,000 on Instagram and just over 20,000 here on YouTube. So I can't thank folks enough, you know, I'm really just scratching the surface of things, I feel like. But I feel like that following has been fairly loyal in buying the products that I'm able to make. And then it's also helped me garner some of the attention for sponsors to come check me out. So really can't thank folks enough for all their support over the years. And of course, their support since I bought this particular lathe here. Hope that helps folks a bit. Hope that gives a bit of insight and updates folks as to, you know, what's in the realm of the possible when it comes to owning a lathe and making some money with it. Anyhow, thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed this video. All the best. Stay safe. Get after it, all the things. Subscribe up, like that stuff too. Peace, thanks.